So we're going to talk about myths. Highway overpasses, are they safe places to shelter from a tornado?
No.
Lightning never strikes in the same place twice.
I don't think that's true. The Eiffel Tower gets struck all the time.
If it's not raining or cloudy, you're safe from lightning.
If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be impacted by lightning.
Tornadoes can't cross rivers or hills.
They definitely can. Number one rule, if you're looking at a tornado,
Welcome back to Mindset with Molly. I have a special guest, Zachary Hall. Thanks for joining us.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you did a lot of storm chasing from my understanding,
Yes.
and you're the all-time weather guy in the River Valley area.
All time.
So, yeah. What sparked your interest in weather and storms?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm from Arkansas originally. I was born in the Fort Smith area. I lived in central Oklahoma for a time when I was young. I lived in Shawnee, Yukon. I lived in Bartlesville, so up in northeast Oklahoma for a stretch of my childhood. And we had a lot of wild weather. And I think that shaped a lot of my interest. But we had wild weather in Arkansas too growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I don't know how old I was, but I was young. And I remember having to go into the tornado shelter at my grandparents' overnight, like an underground, scary, spooky shelter.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. And I remember thinking, like, what is this stuff? This is insane. Like, I've got to know more about this. And just, I guess ever since, I just never let it go. Even through, junior high, high school, I was the nerdy kid. I grew up here in Western Arkansas. Garrett Lewis was the guy, like 5 News. And I would have my parents DVR severe weather coverage to watch back later, which is hilarious to talk about now, but I did.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you have one of the TVs that had like the VCR already in it?
No.
You know what I'm talking
we
about?
did
Yeah.
when I was young, but I'm talking about, like, I would have my parents when I was in high school go through and click, and like we had the ability to record ahead of time, and if I knew severe weather was coming and we were going to have warnings, they would be live. I would have them record it so I could go back and watch and take notes on what Garrett was saying, all the information he would, and I would watch too archived, or however you say it, YouTube footage from Oklahoma City, Alabama, some of the most famous meteorologists in the world. And I would listen to what they say and watch how they analyze the radar. And yeah, I did that growing up.
You knew what you wanted.
Yeah. I knew at a pretty young
Yeah.
age kind of what I wanted to do. So yeah.
So do you and Garrett have a good relationship now? Because he's in the area as well.
Yeah. So he
Mhm.
lives up in Northwest Arkansas. Yeah.
Okay.
I consider him a good friend. We talk all the time. Not always about weather,
Yeah.
but it's weird. It's still weird to this day because he was kind of like my idol growing up.
Yeah.
And now we're pretty good friends. We had breakfast a few weeks back here in Fort Smith at the Egg. So I get to see him sometimes. He stays busy too, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he still does weather just on social media kind of when he wants. This is my job. He has a job with First National. So
Okay.
he stays busy with his job stuff too.
Just kind of switched gears a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was ready to get out of the news scene and go do something different. So yeah, I'm really happy for him.
That's incredible. I've been to a few, not knowing Garrett, I was thinking about your grandmother's storm shelter where
Oh.
it's like full of spiders, dark. My sister and them have one kind of down and in a hill,
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, spiders, scary.
yes, you got to go and clean it up good. So was there a specific moment or storm that made you realize this was more than a hobby? I know you kind of touched on always being interested in it, recording things ahead of time, but was there one specific moment that when you lived in Oklahoma or anything like that?
In my childhood, not really. I knew I wanted to be a storm chaser throughout. Like that was always the goal. I think just like moving forward a little bit, back in 2017, I think it was 2017 was my first trip to the plains. So like Oklahoma and Kansas. I was in my early 20s and I saw my first Great Plains-ish supercell, pancake stacked, massive stuff we don't see in Arkansas. I'd always been just in Arkansas or eastern Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I chased when I was young in eastern Oklahoma in the dark. You can't see anything, My first legitimate supercell out there on the plains, the lightning, I don't know how to put it into words. That's when I was like, I want to do this all the time, not just some of the time. Because I didn't, we can talk about that more in a minute. I haven't always worked in weather. I've had other job ventures like everyone else too.
Okay.
And at that time I was working a government job and I was like, man, I got to do this more. So I was probably in my early 20s then. So, yeah, 2017.
You're an adrenaline junkie, it seems like. You like to I would be terrified, shaking like a little
Yeah. I
chihuahua
mean,
or
I've had some
something, you
scary
know?
moments. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had some scary moments for sure.
Oh, that's incredible. So what early lessons shaped how you approach storms in these early years
Of
in your
storm
20s?
chasing
Yeah, mhm.
lessons. Well, one thing that I always told myself is that I would never go if I wasn't confident in myself. And I held true to that because it's scary and like storms can hurt you. So when I went out, I had a pretty good concept of how to properly approach storms, track with storms, having escape routes, which is really important.
Mhm.
Um, but I had a few early lessons. I got really close to a tornado down in Texas one night in 2019, down near Chico, Texas, and I'd lost service. The storm changed directions on me and I didn't know it. It's dark, you can't see it, and it ended up kind of hooking down towards me. I drove into it, got really close at night. It was very scary. And I learned a very early lesson that night that trusting tech in low service areas when there's a tornado close is probably not the smartest thing to do. I'm very lucky that I didn't get hurt or worse. So that's one of the ones that stick out in my brain the most. Then, of course, I feel like this might be going off track a little bit,
That's okay.
but early in my storm chasing career, I
Mhm.
got my butt whipped several times because of my lack of forecasting ability. Otherwise, what I thought was good enough, but it wasn't. And
Okay.
I, you know, had to really go back to the drawing board when it came to studying meteorology more, forecasting when it comes to tornadoes. It's not hard to find storms, but tornadoes in themselves are rare. And being able to find them, track them, and, I had to really work hard on that. And I had a lot of trips, 7, 8 hour rides home with nothing to prove
Mm.
for myself. So, yeah, those two things were some early lessons, study points for me growing up into this.
Well, now I'm curious, what did you do before weather?
I was a police officer.
Okay.
Yes, I went to college and studied criminology.
Okay.
I wanted to go to meteorology school, but they don't offer that here in Arkansas.
Mhm.
Mississippi State does, Oklahoma. I had a girlfriend who's now my wife. I was very content with staying home. At that time in my life, I was 18. I wasn't ready to move off, and I wanted to be a meteorologist at the time, but I studied criminology and ended up working for Fort Smith Police for, several years. Well, I say several years. It wasn't that long, 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
But I want to say this too. All through high school and all through college, I studied meteorology like I was studying for a degree. I have a lot of hours in study when it comes to meteorology, all available sources outside of a college credit, that helped shape my knowledge when it came to meteorology. So it was an ongoing joke at the police department. Like I was the weatherman at the police department.
Mhm.
And all through working at the police department, I would take all available vacation time to go storm chase. So I would exhaust all of it. Just ask my wife.
Well, when it's a passion too, I feel like, and your wife being a nurse
Mhm.
as well, you learn a lot of things in college.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's so much more that you learn on the job. So, although your degree is not in meteorology,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you don't know everything inside and out. So, I
Yeah.
just want to make that
Yeah. Well, it was hard for me at first.
statement.
When
Mhm.
I first, so I took all available vacation time and storm chased as much as I could because I felt like storm chasing was my ticket into the weather world for a job.
Okay.
And turned out that was true. I was able to leave my government job and pursue storm chasing full time. I traveled all over the country, and it's exactly as it sounds, looking for tornadoes, hurricanes, funded through social media. I had local businesses, had a large audience. I've posted on social media about Arkansas weather related content since 2016.
Okay.
So I've been in the world for a minute, but yes, I agree. I have no problem with college. I don't regret my time in college. Obviously, not using any of that now,
Mhm.
but it was really hard for me at first because I was always so scared, like people were going to judge me or be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a meteorologist. But as I've learned over time, I think more, not necessarily, there's nothing wrong with college, but credentials isn't always everything.
No.
If you know what you're talking about, you've devoted your life to it, it's a passion. As long as you're being smart, I don't have a problem with it at all. But at the end of the day, meteorology school is fantastic. If someone is listening to this and you're interested in weather, go get a meteorology degree. It's
Yeah.
not going to hurt you.
Mhm.
I do think, I will say, just being fully transparent with you, I don't regret not going to college and getting a meteorology degree though, because I think our world is different than it was 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
It is. Mhm.
Whenever I got out of high school, it was go to college, go to college. If you don't go to college, you're not going to go anywhere.
Same here.
So Whereas in now, social media, I own a company revolving around weather, and it's owned by me and my partner James.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not owned by a faraway land that delegates this, that, and the other, credentialism. So I think things are just, the stepping stones are a little different, maybe is what I'm trying to say. I feel like
They
I'm
are.
getting word salad, but
Things have changed a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a second.
Cool.
You're getting
yeah. But storm chasing stuff went really well for me.
good.
And yeah, I pursued it all the time. I was able to do it full time.
And you're not full time anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I have retired from the full-time storm chasing world. I try to still go once or twice a year. I have seen a tornado in person every year since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And this last spring, I went one day in Western Oklahoma and saw an EF3. So my streak is still alive. And I don't know if I'm going to keep it this year because, man, if there's any severe weather threat in Arkansas, I can't go. So it better be close to where I can go, and it better not be, Arkansas better be safe, or I'm going to miss it. So, but no, I retired this last spring and the spring before that last, not this last one, but the one before in 2024 was my last full-time go. I retired after the spring. So
I'm excited to talk about what you're doing full-time now, too.
Cool.
So what led you to transition out of storm chasing and into forecasting?
So my kids are growing up. Rhett is 7, Bo is 4. Rhett will be 8 in April. And I missed a lot of stuff growing up from being gone, especially during their T-ball seasons in the spring. A lot of going on in the spring. I've missed my wife's birthdays. I was gone a lot, and for days at a time. And I felt like I missed some stuff growing up. I tried my best to be there as much as I could, but it's dangerous. I was in 2 accidents. Neither were my fault. I got hit a couple times by people. Had some really close calls with weather. And, I did hurricanes too. Major hurricanes, like on the beach. And went through some hellacious storms. And like I did it. I went out and pursued. I lived the dream. And I think I just kind of realized, like, man, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I mean, I traveled the wheels off those cars, going all over the country, hotels by myself. And I just realized, like, man, this ain't gonna last forever. It's just not. You're in your 20s, you're gonna be in your 30s soon. Next thing you know, you're in your 40s or 50s. You're gonna keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And on the side, the Zachary Hall Arkansas Storm Tracker name and brand was getting bigger. Like, people were like, man, we really enjoy watching your forecasting, but you're not home during severe weather. You're out in your car, which is great. And me and my wife talked about it. My wife never once told me you need to stop. You need to stop. She always supported me, was always very supportive. I made the decision. And I transitioned out of that, made the announcements on social media and told people, hey, I'm going to focus more on forecasting and live coverage, radar coverage from home in the studio, and be here with you guys. And people have loved it ever since.
Well, it's trustworthy too.
Yeah. It's the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah.
My career was going well at that time.
Yeah.
But when I made the switch, my career, like, it exploded.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had a problem connecting. There was a lot of people who loved it, but I had a problem connecting with some people who couldn't care less about the storm chasing. They just want the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So once I just went to weather only and no storm chasing, no live streaming, all that stuff, people really gelled with it.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that you have such a supportive spouse too. I'm sure your kids really enjoy you being home as well. So what was that shift like professionally and personally? You're able to spend more time with the kids. Are you home, or where's the studio?
Yeah. So we have servers and stuff at the house that I access all my weather data, so I can do it from my home office. I'm home a lot. Yeah. Most of the work I do is from home, unless I go out and have meetings with promotional sponsors, or we're doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is considered, work to me, good stuff. But yeah, most of the forecasting work, film work and all that is done at the house. We don't have a studio yet. Maybe one day have a green screen and all that if people want it, if people like that concept and like the way it looks. But for now, people seem to enjoy the model we have. So yeah, a lot of it's at home.
You said promotional. So how does that work?
Yeah. So people all the time are always like, I had a guy the other day who was like, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a weather forecaster. And he goes, that's your job? And I'm like, yeah. And they always, how do you get paid? And social media does a great job of paying me. All the social media platforms out there nowadays, if you put enough work in, will monetize for you. But yes, I have businesses, Arkansas-based businesses that sponsor me on a monthly basis, and the Arkansas Weather Network, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And they pay me every single month for advertising on my platforms. I have the largest weather network in the entire state. I do well. I'm so blessed. that people trust me and show support. So when it comes to advertising, these businesses are now starting to really realize that, maybe local TV or radio isn't as prominent as it used to be.
Yes.
Where,
Mhm.
I have this morning, I made a forecast post, just high temperatures for the day. I posted it this morning at 6:30. Very generic. I mean, super simple. And last I checked, it reached like 68,000 people.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
and most of them are probably Arkansas people, unless you're just in another state curious.
Right.
And that post will be on my page. So it'll have staying power for at least 3 or 4 days, even though it's not applicable to your fort, but people will still see it.
Mhm.
And so when I started showing this to businesses, I mean, no offense to any businesses, what your advertising model is, but unfortunately, a lot of businesses just throw their money in the incinerator. They're not, nobody's seeing their promotion.
Right.
Whereas with this, we have proof. Like I have,
We've got the statistics to prove it.
yeah,
Yes.
and I have businesses that can attest, like, hey, this is working, or else they wouldn't promote with me every month or every, I do 6 months at a time to, give me some longevity with my partnerships. But yeah, that was really life changing when businesses bought in, because that gave me the security to build the brand. And here we are, several years later, and things are going really good.
So if you have any local businesses,
Yeah.
we know where good marketing money can go to.
Yeah. If anybody who owns a business is watching this and you want to explore some new options, let me know. Hit me up on Facebook or whatever, and I'll do my best to work with you. So
Perfect. So how has your approach to severe weather evolved now that you're working on the forecasting side?
I don't know if it's changed a lot. I'm real big on not scaring people. I hate whenever I feel like people are getting scared into sharing stuff on social media, or I don't know. It just
Well,
doesn't.
I said this to you off camera. Sometimes I feel like I'm panicking when maybe I shouldn't be
Yeah.
panicking,
Yeah.
So I like that about you.
I just want people to be informed. We all know that if you live in Arkansas, you're going to deal with tornado warnings in your life. It's like I always tell people, if we have severe weather coming, like, hey, a few of these storms might get cranky. They might try to spin a little bit. That's just part of it here. We might have a few tornado warnings. It's nothing we've never seen. If we have an event coming, in March of 2023, Little Rock got hit by a tornado in the middle of the day on
Yes,
March
I remember.
31st. That morning, I said on Facebook, this is a level 5 of 5, highest risk you can get. A tornado outbreak is coming, strong tornadoes. Like, I don't know how else to tell you guys, this is going to be a rare, very rare day. And still had people comment, whatever, y'all always say that. We don't. But just people giving me a hard time. And then that happens. And I had a lot of people come back and be, hey, man, I'm sorry for saying that. Like I try to reserve strong verbiage for those days, the 1 or 2 a year, if we even have them, where things are really going to get gnarly. But most of the time, it's going to be fine. Most of the people who even see the stuff won't even be impacted.
Right.
So
And
that's
you
how
said
I
your
approach it.
prompt for that is kind of like, y'all.
I do. I that was not on purpose, but yes, it does seem like if I start a post off on Facebook or something, or a TikTok video with, y'all, I need y'all to listen for a minute. People seem to listen more because they're like, oh crap, he's saying y'all again. Like, and that has Ryan Hall, y'all. I don't know if you know who Ryan Hall is.
No.
He's really, really popular in the YouTube world with weather. He does weather across the whole country. So I don't want people to think I'm trying to rip Ryan, but yeah, anytime I say y'all, because I say that all the time, people are always like, oh no, he's saying that again. Like, what's coming? Is it a snowstorm, tornadoes, or whatever? But I guess to answer your question, though, my approach hasn't really changed, but I just want people, when it comes to storm chasing, I would be lying if I told you that when you go out, you're not eager to see a storm. Why would you go out if you're not eager to see a storm? I'm a weather nerd. That's gone now. I really don't care if we have tornadoes or a storm. I would rather us not, so I can go about my day and you can go about yours. So I try to have some temperament with it so I don't scare people and make sure people are properly prepared.
Got it. So what did a typical storm day look like before you ever hit the road? What was the preparation for it?
Yeah, so we have the ability to see these weather patterns on the models, 5 to 7 days out. You can kind of get an idea like, hey, large scale storm system, central US or whatever. This is on the radar, no pun intended. 3 or 4 days out, still locking it in, trying to get your locations picked out, 1 or 2 days away. It's go time. It's planning. Are we hitting the road tonight? What do the hotel options look like? Where do we need to be the morning of? That's a big deal. Because a lot of times on the morning of, you can tell. Like, hey, there's a lot of cloud cover over here. The storm energy isn't as high. Let's go up here where it's sunny. There's better wind profiles, associated with that area anyways. And I'm getting into the meteorology weeds a little bit, but that morning of is really important. And then, get breakfast, fuel up the car. And next thing you know, early mid-afternoon, we call them, towers off in the distance. You can see the clouds starting to build. like the movie Twister.
Mm.
You're looking at the radar. Where's the first storm going to go? Do we need to be positioned east? Do we need to go further east? And then it's go time. Storms are forming. And that's really when the real work starts, is when the storms start forming, because there might be 3 or 4. Which one are you going to go after? Good luck. If you pick the wrong one, everyone else is going to get what you're trying to get there. You drove 8 hours for. A lot of stress. I know for a fact that I will have gray hairs grow on my beard and my hair from storm chasing, because it is not for the faint of heart. But yeah, hopefully that kind of gave you
Yeah.
And of course, after the storms are over and everything's done, it's time to head back to the hotel or head home, I guess. So
Did you do these by yourself, or did you have someone that came with you?
There was a stretch of time where I had partners with me. Frankie Shepard, a good friend of mine, lives up in Lowell. Zach Hardcastle. We chased a lot together. But I did do some trips by myself. Me and my buddy James Bryant, who I co-own Arkansas Weather Network, we've chased together hurricanes and stuff. But yeah, we've had some crazy times together. But yes, I did do it some by myself. I'm just not a huge fan of that. It's so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to avoid being distracted by technology, other drivers hitting you, which has happened to me, tornadoes hitting you at night, very dangerous. So I did do it some if I just absolutely had to, but it was not my favorite, to be honest.
I would prefer a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one that can, you're focusing on driving. I've never been storm chasing, so I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But someone's driving, someone's paying attention to the technology and everything as well. I guess.
Yeah, Frankie, when we were together, we chased together for a couple of years, and we had a formula, man. He would drive typically, and I would sit in the passenger seat. We had a data center in the middle to where I could look at so he could focus on driving, and we would bounce stuff off each other. I was not ashamed to ever be like, Frankie, I don't like that. Let's go here. And he was not ashamed to be like, no, I don't like that. And we would just kind of form our own opinions, but come to a solution and figure it out. We had a lot of success doing that. Saw a lot of incredible storms and tornadoes. Certainly much easier having a partner than being by yourself. Being by yourself is just it's dangerous. If anybody's watching this and you're interested in going storm chasing, I would highly recommend having a partner, because you are really increasing the odds of you being in an accident or something if you don't. So, but yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Man. So how much planning and data analysis went into a chase? You kind of touched on it a little bit, several days prior, and then things can change too, depending on the storms. And
some days were easier than others. We call them in the storm chasing world, hey idiot, go here. Like seriously, some days are so easy, because just the ingredients are there for a ripe tornado day. If you don't go here, you're going to miss them. Not every day is like that though. There's a lot of days that are really muddy. You're looking at satellite that morning, and you're looking at the satellite data, you're looking at your mesoscale information here, and a lot of it comes down to forecasting expertise. That's what I really struggle with young in this, is I, just like a young meteorologist, who maybe is fresh out of college, you've got the tools. I had the tools. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have the experience. Whereas when I retired last year, man, I was feeling it. Those mornings I would wake up and just discard things. Nope, I don't want that. I'm not going there. Whereas when I was young in my storm chasing career, there would be a lot of doubt, a lot of personal hunch of like, man, should I go here? Should I not? Whereas when I finished and retired, and to this day, I'm not trying to gloat or brag, but you just get experience just like you do anything.
I don't feel like you're doing that. You're pouring into other people too that may want to pursue that as well. So
you will get to a point where you will get to a point in storm chasing if you do it long enough where you can wake up in the morning, look at the data you have, and have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. Maybe not to a T. Whereas when you're young in it, man, it's tough. I had a lot of humble soup coming home with nothing, and getting on Twitter and seeing some guy up in Kansas get a huge tornado in the middle of a field, just beautiful. And I'm like, man, why didn't I go there? It's because I didn't know,
Yeah.
So
we've learned a lot, similar to what we already said, just kind of learning as you go, learning on the job. And I know you've studied it a lot too on your own. So what tools and technology did you rely on most during severe weather? Was it your computer? Was it, is there anything aside from your computer that you have to rely on too?
Well, so I'll do this in 2 parts. For storm chasing, we had a tech center in the middle of the car with all sorts of good data that you can look at. But we had, recording equipment too, GoPros, cellular phones. We would mount cameras in the windshield, mount cameras outside of the vehicle for cool shots. A lot of tech in that regard. As far as live coverage now at the house, man, we have a large, data center that feeds a ton of information. I mean, they're legitimate supercomputer servers is what they are.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have a streaming output, a high quality, expensive, Lord. The gaming, it's almost like a gaming computer for the streaming side to make sure our quality's top notch.
Okay.
But as far as the weather side, looking at all this information, I mean, it can show me pretty much anything I need to look at, whether it's, what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere, down at the surface, relative humidity, wind, satellite. I mean, you name it, I can probably check and tell you something about it. And that it's really incredible what we can see. I look at, for anybody who may be a weather nerd who's listening, they're called soundings, upper air soundings. Balloon goes up in the upper levels of the atmosphere and samples the atmosphere, the wind direction, the measure of moisture in the air. That does a lot for us on severe weather days. Tells us how ripe the atmosphere really is. So hopefully that answered your question.
No, it did. I'm sitting here thinking I can't imagine what your office and studio looks like.
Oh, it's a mess. Yeah. It's a weather center for sure.
Now got to see it,
Yeah. Oh,
so yeah. So how did you decide when it was safe for you to continue versus when to stop?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
I'm guessing you're talking about like tornadoes and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So number one rule, if you're looking at a tornado and you can visually see it moving from your left to right or right to left, it's not moving towards you. So good rule of thumb there. If you ever get caught in a situation, just take a breath. If it looks like it's getting bigger and it's not moving left to right, it's probably coming right for you. So had to do that a couple of times. I don't know if this is really in line with what you're asking, but something that I noticed while being near a storm and whether or not it was probably about to produce a tornado is a lot of times these supercells, especially out on the plains, I just felt like there was a dramatic uptick in lightning right before it would produce a tornado.
Okay.
Like I'm talking a strong concentration of cloud to ground negative channel bolts. Seemed like that was like the precursor for a tornado to develop. And I don't have any scientific proof of that, just a visual cue. And sometimes if I saw that, I would hold back. Like, let's give this thing a minute and see what it's going to do. We also had something, another visual cue for a storm. A lot of times the base of the storm, so the very bottom, not necessarily a wall cloud, would almost look pregnant. I don't know how else to explain it. Like just like a pregnant base at the bottom. And a lot of times that's a good precursor. And of course you have wall clouds. I'm sure everyone's heard about wall clouds, rotating wall clouds. But yeah, those visual cues are really important to me on whether or not how to approach a storm and how fast are they moving. Some storms move at 60 miles an hour and they don't have stoplights, stop signs. So you have to really move downstream and make sure you're positioned well. Some storms don't move that fast. They move 20 and you can keep up with them all day. So
I always think of movies or, TV shows. And in my mind, as you're saying that, moving left to right or it looks like it's not moving, so it may be coming at me.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Lord, I would like turn my car around and try to go the opposite direction as fast as I could. But then the road systems change directions too. That's terrifying.
Yeah, you need to have an escape route. That not all storms do, but a lot of storms, unless we have a northwest flow pattern, are going to move from southwest to northeast, west to east, it seems like.
Okay.
So I always liked having a south option to get away from it. That was always having a south option was my goal.
Okay.
Unless I knew they were moving south. So that's not always foolproof though. Sometimes big tornadoes, I've seen them J-hook, circles, turn around and go the other way. I mean, they have a mind of their own. So you're never completely safe.
No.
So
God bless you.
Thanks.
Why is Arkansas so vulnerable to severe weather compared to other regions?
Our geographical location. We have access to the Gulf, which has a lot of rich moisture in the air. You have to have moisture for severe weather. If you don't have moisture dew points, especially for tornadoes, you have to have some sort of water content to the air. So we're close enough to the Gulf to get that, much like Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah.
We also have access to different sources of air and, stuff from other parts of the country. We get these big, they're called mid-latitude cyclones that'll spin through the central part of the country. And Arkansas is just located to where we can get access to that, the desert dry air or the cold polar air from from Western Canada and Northern US. And we can get a little bit of all, whereas in places like California and Arizona, they don't get that, it's just, we're in a ripe spot. Oklahoma's the same, Kansas, everyone's heard about tornadoes in those states. Arkansas is the same. So we're just our geographical location certainly helps us.
Gotcha. You picked a good state to stay in.
Huh? Oh yeah. Yeah. We stay busy.
Yeah. What are the biggest misconceptions people have about tornadoes and storms?
Well, tornadoes are rare, regardless of what people think. I know that we in America, we average well over 1,000 a year, but most of them are weak and short-lived. I would say most of them are EF0, EF1s that don't do much damage whatsoever. I'm not saying that you wouldn't notice if it hit your home, but tornadoes are very scary to some people. And we talked about this before we recorded. I think that most tornadoes, I'd say 90% plus, are very survivable if you just do a few things. Put the most walls in between you and the outside, no windows, put a helmet on. You may look goofy, who cares? Put a mattress over your head, put some blankets over get in the closet. Mobile homes are not safe in tornadoes. And I know that might upset some people, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile homes aren't safe. Being in a vehicle and not knowing what you're doing can be very dangerous as well. A modern, site-built home, restaurants, as long as you're not near windows, you're going to probably be okay. I hope that resonates with most people, especially people who are scared.
Yeah.
There's only a very, very, very small percent of tornadoes that are not survivable. Very small percent. And most people will never experience it in their life.
And being prepared when storms are coming at night,
Yeah.
as we were talking about before too, having a go bag.
Have a go bag. Storm shelters are great too. I know that they're expensive. But you don't have to have a storm shelter either to keep yourself safe. I don't want people to think they're left out in the cold if they don't have one. Having a go bag ready with some flashlights, maybe a whistle if you get trapped in debris. You just never know.
Great idea.
Having a whistle, flashlights, put some helmets, near your go bag, and make sure you have some shoes, teeth and bras. What do we say? Teeth and bras earlier.
Say that. I just didn't know if you were going to say
I don't care. Yeah, teeth and bras. It's just a joke in Arkansas. But in all seriousness, first aid kit, maybe waters. Have that bag ready to go. Maybe some important documents you don't want to lose because, I guess I've said this a couple times. You never know. Have that go bag ready, peace of mind. That way you can just go get in your safe spot or your shelter and be done with it.
Yeah, I need to put like a small safe in our storm shelter to put all of our important documents in and stuff. When a warning is issued, what should people actually focus on?
Getting to their safe place.
Okay.
If a warning is issued, that means a tornado could be imminent. If a tornado watch is issued, it does not mean one is imminent. It just means that conditions are favorable.
Okay.
So taco warning, taco watch. I tell people all the time, you're cooking the tacos, conditions are favorable, you're about to have some tacos. If the tacos are ready to go, you've got them in the shell, putting cheese on them, you're about to eat them. That's a taco warning. Same could be said for tornado warnings.
Okay.
If that wall cloud's spinning like crazy, it's being reported, circulation's tight on the radar, there's probably about to be a tornado, you're under a tornado warning. Go to your safe place. Don't stand outside and try to see it. Or in Arkansas, I feel like everybody congregates in their backyard trying to see it.
I always get those mixed up too, watch versus warning. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you're warning me it may happen.
Makes sense.
And then now I'm watching for it to come.
Yeah.
So I think y'all should switch that.
Hey, and National Weather Service, hey, that's fine with me. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying though?
No, I get it all the time.
Okay.
I get it all the time. And when I post tornado watches, comments on Facebook like, is it coming for Rogers or is it coming for Fort Smith? I'm like, hey, nothing's formed yet. We're just watching.
Yeah.
With the warning, it's like, hey, it's go time. You get a tornado warning, it's go time. So.
I'm not going to forget this now.
Some people too.
Yeah.
Some people, when it comes to the warnings, they don't take them serious because they've had them so long, nothing's ever happened. Man, it only takes one time. I tell people that all the time. It only takes one time for you to really respect tornadoes. I saw the true power and violence that they can inflict. I have no shame in admitting that tornadoes are scary to me, and I take them very serious. So,
well, you've also chased them, so you can see.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. When people just open the door and they're just outside during the morning. Yeah,
it's dangerous stuff.
They are really dangerous. What mistakes do you see families make most often during severe weather events? Standing outside, watching it all happen.
I think sometimes people can get a little bit. I hate to say lazy, maybe a little bit too comfortable. I'm not asking you to panic or fear for your life or sob in the living room because a tornado watch has been issued. But if a tornado watch is issued, go get that go bag ready. Go get it ready to go just in case. You get a tornado watch, make sure your family, your loved ones know, hey, they just issued a tornado watch for Sebastian County, where we live. So keep an eye on the sky today. Keep an eye on the radar, what Zachary Hall has to say or whatever. I don't, it doesn't bother me, but and then when the warning is issued, I think sometimes people get complacent. We saw so many people in the Little Rock tornado in March of 2023 standing in office buildings, recording it. Like, it's almost like they didn't think it was real and like they're getting hit. People who are very lucky to be alive today because they just think that it's not going to happen to them. And that thing went through Little Rock, just shredding places.
Off of 430.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I honestly think it's because people have, over time they've heard this stuff. They've seen this stuff on TV. And it's like, it's almost like they can't even think it happened to them. So complacency kills. I tell people that all the time. It's a little bit harsh, but it's the truth.
And then also, speaking of children and stuff, making sure they're inside. And
Yeah.
kids that drive, if there's severe weather,
Yep.
having them come home instead of being out and about.
Yeah.
So you can account for your family members
Definitely.
if possible.
Definitely.
Too. What is the most intense or unforgettable storm you've experienced?
Hurricane Ian in Florida. I intercepted that on the beach in Punta Gorda, and it was a Category 5 over the ocean, so high end. That was intense, very intense. That was the full-on hurricane experience that I dreamed of having growing up. As far as tornadoes, Rolling Fork, Mississippi in March of 2023, 7 days after the Little Rock tornado. Or no, excuse me. It was before the Little Rock tornado. That one was an EF5, but it only hit, that sounds horrible to say. The truth is it hit a very old town. So tornadoes are rated off damage, not how they look, not how scary they sound. It's purely off damage. And there wasn't a whole lot of modern homes and stuff in that town, so it didn't get that EF5 rating, but it was like right on the cusp. Moving at 60 miles an hour, nighttime. I heard that tornado, and it was terrifying. I drove through the town, realized that the town was going to get hit, so I had to turn around and go back through the town, and watched people going in and out of restaurants, gas stations, saw people going about their lives like they had no idea there was no sirens going off in the town. And there was an EF5 headed right for them, 60 miles an hour in the dark. It was like a dream. So I drove south of town, saw the tornado. Of course, when the lightning was striking, I could see the tornado and I could hear it. And then I watched it go through the town and drove into town. We were one of the first people in town. It was like an atomic bomb went off. So I saw the true power of it then. Of course, saw a lot of things that night that are not fun to talk about, that I'm not going to elaborate on. But that's just part of it. If you put yourselves in those situations, you're going to see things you don't want to see.
Right.
Tornadoes are deadly. That's just a fact of the matter. That some of them, like I said earlier, a handful of them are, and that was one of them. So that storm really changed my perception on severe weather and tornadoes in general. The warning process, it made me so angry that, we should never rely on sirens. It's ridiculous for us to rely on an outdoor siren to wake us up.
Mm-hmm.
We have got to get out of that mindset eventually. But yeah, that one was pretty bad. That one, Hurricane Ian, were the two ones that really stick out in my head. So
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. Have you ever been in a situation where things didn't go as planned?
Yeah.
You've said that.
Yeah, talking about Chico, Texas earlier,
Yeah.
that was rough. I did Hurricane Idalia in Florida a couple years ago in 2023, I think it was. Maybe 2024, I don't remember. Hurricane Idalia in Perry, Florida, and I had to make a last-second move to get closer to landfall and had to drive through unknown area, dark, not a whole lot of cell service, windy because the hurricane's getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Last second trying to plan where to ride out the hurricane footage and this, that, and the other, and that was scary. Made it through okay, but had a lot of unplans that morning that are just part of this whenever you don't plan properly, and I didn't plan properly the night before for whatever reason. So, but outside of those two, I've been fairly lucky. I feel like I've done a good job of keeping myself out of trouble. I've been in a couple accidents, like I mentioned earlier, got hit a couple times by different people. So hopefully that doesn't ever happen again, but.
Do you think that that's just out of panic, other people hitting you, or do you think that it was because of the weather?
Well,
like the wind.
Well, one of them for sure was out of panic. I was driving through a town in Iowa, and strong storm moving into town. And I'm not saying this to sound holier than thou, but to me, it was just a run-of-the-mill storm, strong. But I was just trying to get south to get away from it so I could position myself, because we were about to move into Illinois, and there's only so many river crossings you have. So I moved south, and whenever I was driving south out of the town, a 17-year-old kid was probably panicking because it was scary looking. Golf ball size hill in the storm, probably trying to get home. Sure, he was hearing the warning stuff on his radio, and he was just running stop signs, going this way, and I was going south, and he T-boned me. Man, it hurt.
I bet that did.
Yeah, totaled my car and damaged a lot of my tech and stuff. He said his brakes went out, but I don't think his brakes went out. I think he was just panicking. And they checked me out in the ambulance. I was okay, just bruised up real bad. But Yeah, he was. He would probably wouldn't have told me, but I'm sure he was probably scared of that storm, trying to get home. Sure, he didn't
Right.
live that far.
What's one of the biggest storms you've ever covered in this area?
Good question, man. That's a good question. So let me break this down. We'll start with winter first. So the winter storm that we had last year
Yes.
was one of the larger ones. We had a foot of snow at my house in Greenwood. Just really, honestly, a slam dunk forecast when it comes to snow. We had 17 inches in Southwest Arkansas, so a really big snow. Um, February of 2021, we had a week of below freezing temperatures with 2 winter storms in Arkansas. We had 2 foot of snow down in South Arkansas.
I remember.
Yeah, that was a really big one. That storm is what kind of put me, this sounds really weird, but it kind of put me on the map. My forecast that week got a lot of attention because there's snow. My life was never the same after that storm. Like it was almost like so many new people found me in other parts of the state.
Really?
Yeah, because like before that, people around here knew who I was. I
Mhm.
had a relationship with Garrett, who was very well known around here, and like storm chaser guy. I was still storm chasing at the time, but I mean, I still daily forecast stuff too. And so a lot of parts of Arkansas didn't know who I was. And then after that storm, it was like, wow, a lot of people know who I am now because it was such a high profile event.
Mhm.
And as far as tornadoes go, man, this last spring, the tornado outbreaks in Northeast Arkansas, Cave City, man, I mean, the Diaz EF4 that we had, those were some big storms. I'm talking like a classic Arkansas tornado outbreak in the evening hours. I mean, just multiple EF4s. The Little Rock Tornado Day
Yeah.
was a big one. Those are the ones that stick out in my head.
Okay.
I've been doing this actively, daily forecasting since 2019. And those are the ones that really stick out in my head, the winter storms and those 2 tornado
I'm
days.
glad you mentioned the winter storms too.
Oh, yeah. Those are big.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Mhm.
So,
I lived in Northwest Ohio for
oh, yeah.
a while, and we used to get snow all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of the utilities are underground, and they're more prepared for it
Yeah.
than, of course.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's a lot different. What's the most unexpected part of your job? Something people don't really realize that you deal with.
So this is not going to be an interesting answer, but I think the business side,
Mm-hmm.
promotional
Yeah.
partnerships, meetings, financial stuff, trying to make sure your brand is taken good care of, planning ahead, developing new things. That's a lot of stuff that people think that I just sit at home and produce a weather forecast and that's it. And while I do that, as a business owner, it's a well-oiled machine that I have to maintain and keep running, keep relationships up to speed, do stuff like this,
Mhm.
make sure I'm getting out there because there's people in my neighborhood right now in Greenwood who I can guarantee you have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
I do this for thousands of people, but I want to keep growing. So always trying to develop new relationships. That is very important. School visits. I do school visits a lot. I didn't a lot this last year. I took a break. We'll probably do more in the next school year. I think most people probably expect that I do weather forecast every day and all that. And there's a lot of work that goes into that too. I think more than what people realize.
Yeah.
I don't just get on, no offense to people who just look at their weather app. We have a weather app. It's fantastic. We'll talk about it more in a little bit. But these models that we look at are great, but they're not perfect. And it's our job to figure out if they're right or wrong. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it.
More intentional
Right.
post. And then in real estate, we say top of mind. So same thing you're doing
Definitely.
too, staying
Yeah.
top of mind.
Definitely.
I'd love for you to go and speak to my kids at the elementary school, so I'll talk to you
Yeah,
about that in a
sounds
little bit too. Why is accurate and calm communication so important during severe weather?
Yeah. If people see you panic, they're going to panic.
Yeah.
I mean, if people see Zach, the weather guy, starting to panic and sweat a little bit, there's a good chance you're going to probably lose your cool too, because I've seen a lot. And I always try to keep that cool, calm demeanor when I'm live and on camera because I don't want people to panic, even in the worst situations. I tell people all the time, if we have a supercell heading for a town and I know that there's a tornado, like I can see the debris on radar, you have 10 minutes. Stay calm. We're going to get through this together. Get your go bag, get to the shelter. You're running out of time. Don't call people. Don't be putting posts on Facebook. Get to your shelter. Stuff like that I feel like resonates more than me screaming,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is happening, blah, 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 because that's just going to terrify people. And there's weather personalities that do that, and it drives me bonkers. You're literally causing people to panic when we don't want people to panic. So, yeah.
No chaos.
No.
Just remember, y'all,
People operate better
We
when they're
got 10
calm.
minutes.
I'm telling you, if I'm doing anything, if I get in a tizzy about something, my wife's
Yeah.
like, "You need to chill. Like, you're not being chased by a cheetah."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Yes, you're right. There's no cheetahs in Arkansas. I'm doing okay." Like, sometimes you just need that reassurance. It's gonna be okay. Even if, and I'm gonna say this, even if there's a moment where I have some doubt about a storm because it's really strong, I will never tell somebody, "Sorry, you're not gonna make it. Sorry, this looks really bad." I'm not ever going to do that because I want people to have that reassurance that they are gonna be okay. Them and their family, their kiddos, their pets, whatever, that they're gonna be fine. That's my job.
Mhm.
So we'll let the rest take care of itself. But yeah, being calm is very
And you
important.
take it seriously too.
Sure.
So how do you decide what information to share in real time?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I have access to the National Weather Service chat. There's an office in Tulsa, Little Rock, Memphis, Springfield. There's an office in Shreveport, Jackson. So we have a lot of real time information from them. They do a great job of feeding us information and updates.
How do you decide
What
what
to
to
share?
share? Mhm.
It needs to be, it's one of those things where it really just needs to be pertinent to the situation and not over people's head. We could have sat here this entire podcast and talk about thermodynamics, convective available potential
You
energy,
know
and
where you would have been?
yeah, upper level wind shear or whatever.
Yeah.
And that all sounds great and dandy, but nobody knows what I'm talking about. They don't
Mhm.
care either. They just want to know, like, is it going to rain here? Is it going to storm? Are we going to get a tornado?
You just need to put it in lingo people understand.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Basic English, models that I can interpret for people. That's something I love to do.
Mhm.
I said convective available potential energy a second ago. All that is just thunderstorm fuel. If we don't have it, there's a good chance tornadoes aren't going to happen. So I'll tell people in live forecast, hey, it's short for CAPE is what it's called. This is thunderstorm fuel. There's values of 500 up here by Little Rock. That's pretty good. South Arkansas, the values are 1,000, so a lot higher. That's plenty of thunderstorm fuel. The basic person who has no understanding of weather can interpret that a little bit at least.
Mhm.
So yeah, I try to only share things that I feel like are pertinent and easy to understand so people can prepare themselves. So,
Got it. Okay. We're moving on to some
okay.
really important things
Okay.
and exciting things. Um, but first,
All right.
what is the key takeaway you want listeners to have today?
Arkansas weather is crazy. This has been a very slow weather pattern that we've been in lately. It will not last. If you've enjoyed the podcast and what I've had to say, I hope you give me an opportunity and follow me on all social media platforms. I cover all 75 counties. I'm from Arkansas. I care about Arkansas. I have a company based on Arkansas weather. I love working with Arkansas companies. And my goal in life, whenever I kick the bucket, I'm gone from this earth, is that I just want people to remember me as the weather guy who cared about his communities, because I do care about the people of this state, and I like weather. And I'm a family man. I'm a very normal person. A lot of times when I'm in public, especially in other towns where I'm not from, people will come up and say hello and maybe want a picture or something, which is weird to me that anyone would want a picture with me. But I'm just a normal guy. I like the Razorbacks. I like to deer hunt. I like to play golf. I love the Lord. I love my family. So some stuff sprinkled in there that maybe some people will remember about me if, you know, as they move on. So hopefully that answered your
More
question.
personable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Arkansas Network app.
Let's do it.
All right. So, what's the goal of the app? And tell us a little bit about it.
So the Arkansas Weather Network mobile app is a month old as of yesterday. So we've had it live for a month. We've had
So exciting.
30,000 plus downloads, and we've had no weather, which tells me that people were excited for something new. The app is meant to give you everything you need and more when it comes to Arkansas weather. Hourly forecast, daily forecast. We have stuff that, graphic access is for regions of our state. So if you want to look at statewide, that's fine. But if you want to get a little bit more specific, we have regions broken into Northwest, Northeast, Eastern, Southeast, whatever it might be. We are currently developing some new stuff for the app that I think people are going to be very excited about, especially a certain group of people in our state that likes hunting and fishing. So I'll get more on that eventually on social media soon. I can't unveil too much, but the app is designed to help you through your daily life. If you're trying to plan what your kiddos are going to be put in the morning for school, you can get that on the app. And I know you can get that stuff on the other apps too, but we work really hard on the forecast to make sure it's as accurate as possible. So the mobile app has all sorts of stuff on it. We have stuff that is dedicated to aviation stuff, marine. My goal is for people to be able to get on that app and get everything they need and more for all facets of life. So, and it was designed by Arkansans.
1 month.
1 month, 30,000.
Okay. So you've told us a lot about it and what updates and features are kind of expected for users, and where can people download it?
Yeah, the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. So it's free. You do not have to pay a cent for it. We're very blessed with Arkansas-based companies that have helped fuel the cost for it. So it's not, there's some ads on there, but they're not clickable ads as far as like you have to click them off with a little tiny X that you can't get off your screen. It drives me crazy. They're scrollable ads that, if you want to click on our promotional advertisers and see what they have to offer, that's great. But it's completely free and it's on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
So we're going to talk about myths, okay? Highway overpasses, are they safe places to shelter from a tornado?
No. I know that in the 90s, that was the thing. It was common knowledge, like it was the practice, but no, it's not safe. It also, if you park under an overpass due to hail and stuff, I get you want to save your car, but you are creating a humongous hazard on the roadway in blinding conditions that people are going to get killed. You're better off just to make a claim to your insurance. Don't get yourself killed parking in the middle of the highway or on the shoulder, or whatever it might be. But no, overpasses are not safe during severe weather, tornadoes, hailstorms.
That was a good point, too. So, lightning never strikes in the same place twice.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I feel like it could. I don't. The Eiffel Tower gets struck all the time. I
didn't really think about that.
I don't. I don't have anything that says it can't. I think the odds of that happening are very unlikely, unless it's a isolated geographical lightning attractor like the Eiffel Tower. Because I feel like lightning in itself just looks for the closest attractant to strike, the most accessible. So yeah, no, I can't say that that's necessarily true.
If it's not raining or cloudy, you're safe from lightning.
If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be impacted by lightning. That's why I tell people in the summertime, you're in the pool, it's 115 degrees outside, that one storm of the day forms. If you can hear the thunder, you need to get out of the pool. You're close enough to be struck by the lightning. If you cannot hear the thunder, then you're generally good. A lot of times in the summer, I'm not going to add a topic here. I grew up hearing about heat lightning. There's no such thing as heat lightning. That's just a thunderstorm that you could see. You just can't hear the thunder. And in the summertime, these storms grow to 50, 60,000 feet. You're going to be able to see it, from a long ways. But you're not in danger of being struck by lightning by that storm. So if you're close enough, you can hear the thunder, you can see clouds. Yeah, you're definitely, lightning is dangerous too.
Yes, I've seen it.
30,000 degrees Celsius. So yeah, definitely don't want to be struck.
So tornadoes can't cross rivers or hills.
They definitely can. Arkansas, I tell people all the time, the tornado that hit Fort Smith in 96, in Fort Smith and Van Buren, I crossed the river twice that night. So we have, this last year, we had some strong tornadoes traverse the hills of North Arkansas. EF4. Violent tornadoes that just churn through the hills like they weren't even there. I don't really know where the hills thing came from.
I don't know either.
To be honest with you, because I heard that growing up too, but no, they definitely can. I'm not here to say that the hills cannot have some sort of influence, negative or positive, but it does not prevent them. It just absolutely does not. So.
Well, that was the last one I had. Is there any you want to add to that? Any myths?
Something that's fresh on my mind. We've had a mild start to winter, right? Very mild. Not a whole lot of significant cold, no snow to speak for. And I've had a lot of people tell me that that's not normal. And while I understand what they mean, in its sense, correct, the temperatures have been above normal. But Arkansas, we have daily data records back into the 1800s that's free to access by the public. You can look at it. This kind of mild stuff has happened many times. In 2023, the first half of January, we had 80-degree days. We ended up with snow and ice and stuff later that month. But Arkansas is a bipolar state when it comes to weather. We don't ever get cold and stay cold in the winter here. We never have, as far as like in modern times. I'm not saying what has happened 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, but
yeah.
So, we have records in the 1800s, and we have proof that Arkansas has always fluctuated from cool to warm, warm to cool, and that it's very normal for us to do that here. And don't let social media tell you otherwise, or whoever, because I promise they're not being truthful with you. So that's it, though. I don't have any other ones off the top of my head that I could share.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed having you here with me.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. And make sure you download the
Arkansas Weather Network mobile app. And if you have social media, Zachary Hall, Arkansas Storm Tracker, Facebook. I've got a Twitter. I have a TikTok that I upload on almost every day, daily forecast information. If you ever need weather information, I've got you covered. And the Arkansas Weather Network team is fantastic. James Bryant, Blaze Thomas. So we work really hard to make sure people are prepped.
Perfect. And if you're a local business that you want to discuss any promotional deals, then get in touch.
Yep. Please do. I'd love to work with you. So